Hi, I'm Sean Moore and welcome back to my channel. Today, we're making one of my family's coveted recipes, chicken tetrazzini. If you've never heard of it, then you're missing out. This casserole is creamy, rich, and full of memories. Not only will I enlighten you to my family's version of this chicken tetrazzini, I'm offering you a bonus Cooking with Taste version. And if you haven't subscribed to Cooking with Taste, then take the time to do so. Okay, let's get started. To make my mom's version of chicken tetrazzini, we would need to chop 2 to 3 stalks of celery. Make sure not to cut your celery too thin because you want a little crunch at the end. Put the celery aside and let's work on our medium-sized yellow onion. I want you to dice half of that onion and put it aside with your celery. Forgive me in advance because this onion is hella strong. Whew! Pull out your medium-sized skillet and dump in 2 tablespoons of butter. Add in your vegetables and season with Lawry's seasoning salt. You will be hard-pressed to find a Southern black home that doesn't carry Lawry's seasoning salt. It is just the truth. Saute your vegetables for about 5 minutes. Meanwhile, let's take a moment just to chill out and maybe have a glass of wine. Or 2. You deserve it. Okay, back to the vegetables. Dump it back to your tray, and let's move on to the chicken. I'm using 2 organic chicken breasts, and I want you to season it well. My mom would also insist that you massage the seasoning into every nook and cranny of that chicken breast. Introduce your seasoned chicken breasts into a stock pot which I filled halfway with cold water. Place your reserved half an onion from before into that same pot. Try not to splash the water everywhere. Season your water, put the lid on, and bring the water to a simmer. 12 minutes later, your chicken breast should be fully poached. Remove the onion and chicken breast from the pot and put it into a bowl to cool down. And what you'll have left is a quick chicken broth. Next step. Pull out a handful of dry spaghetti pasta, and we're going to cook that pasta in the broth. That alone just elevates the flavor of that pasta and is a total time saver. Key tip: cook your spaghetti 3 minutes shy of the provided cooking instructions on the box. While that's going, let's move on to our cheese. I have an 8-ounce block of extra sharp cheddar cheese, which I'll grate half of it by hand. The recipe calls for block cheese because, well, it melts easier than the pre-shredded stuff. Put that cheddar aside and let's move on to the second cheese. And yes, it is processed cheese. It's what my mom uses because of that unique melting quality that most cheeses don't offer. Just cut 16 ounces of that processed cheese into smaller cubes and put alongside with your shredded cheddar. Okay, now we're back to our chicken. The recipe calls for us to shred our meat with 2 forks. Just make sure that the shreds are fine and consistent. Put the chicken breast back into its bowl, and now we'll be ready to assemble. Okay, you will need 1 10.5-ounce can of cream of chicken soup, as well as the equivalent size of cream of mushroom soup. We have our shredded chicken breast, our sauteed vegetables, our cheeses, seasonings, and a large bowl. Let's dump in our cream of chicken and our cream of mushroom first. Just get all of that going. Next, drop in your sauteed vegetables and give that a mix. Next comes the shredded chicken and mix all of that together, and then dump in a 1/4 teaspoon of that seasoned salt. The second to last ingredients will be your cheddar and processed cheese. And last but not least, your spaghetti pasta from before. Combine everything as much as you can. If the sauce is too thick, then you can cut it with a little bit of reserved pasta water, which I'll use to rinse out my soup cans. Remember, waste not, want not. Just try your best not to make the casserole too soupy. You just want enough liquid to make the dish spreadable, like so. So, keeping up with the tradition, my mom would definitely use either a glass baking dish or an aluminum option. I won't deviate from that, but pour in your tetrazzini mixture and spread the contents out evenly. My mom would also add black pepper before adding the cheese, and then top the tetrazzini with a final layer of the cheddar cheese. Cover your baking dish with some aluminum foil, which sometimes get referred to as tin foil, and then place the baking dish in a 325-degree Fahrenheit oven for 1 hour and 15 minutes. For my personal development for chicken tetrazzini, I would like to sub the celery for 1 green bell pepper, which I like to slice it on each corner. Cut the sides into strips, like so, and last, turn those strips into cubes. Put aside into a tall bowl and let's dice half a yellow onion. Again, very easy and straightforward. Next, prepare about 3 to 4 ounces of baby Bella mushrooms. My husband taught me how to peel a mushroom, which I never knew that was a thing. You can also wipe your mushrooms with a damp towel, like so. Slice your mushrooms to a uniform size and put aside. Now, pull out your brazier pan or a heavy skillet and drop in about 2 tablespoons of unsalted butter. Get it nice and melted. Mushrooms tend to soak up a lot of oil, so we should add an extra tablespoon or so of extra virgin olive oil. When the pan gets really hot, add in your mushrooms. You might need to cook your mushrooms in multiple batches. Make sure that the mushrooms have good contact with that pan. Season with freshly cracked black pepper. Then flip the mushrooms after they turn brown and season with salt at the end. Transfer your mushrooms to a separate plate and add a tablespoon of butter, and then drop in your onions and bell pepper. This is an essential way to build flavor to this dish. Give all your ingredients the attention that they deserve and you'll be happy. Remember to season your food as you go, and let your vegetables saute for about 4 to 5 minutes. While the vegetables are cooking, let's move our attention to the chicken. I have 14 ounces of organic chicken tenderloin, which I'll season with garlic powder, paprika, onion powder, poultry seasoning, kosher salt, and black pepper. Massage the seasonings into the chicken with your clean hands, and pour in some olive oil to make the step easier. At this point, my hands are washed, and I'm grabbing a bowl to move my vegetables into. Pour in 2 teaspoons of olive oil and drop your chicken tenderloins into the pan. After 3.5 minutes, flip the chicken and cook on the other side for 2 to 3 more minutes. Transfer to a plate and deglaze your pan with a half a cup of Chardonnay. Scrape the bits off the bottom of the pan and let the wine reduce by at least half. Now don't kill me, but we need an extra tablespoon of butter and a tablespoon of all-purpose flour. If you haven't guessed already, we're making a roux. From this point, gradually pour in your chicken stock and whisk consistently. Chop your chicken tenderloin into bite-sized pieces and transfer it to your sauce. You can only imagine how wonderful my kitchen smells. I can't believe I waited this long to make chicken tetrazzini. It is so good. Go ahead and add your sauteed vegetables. Combine everything and now taste for seasoning. I can use a little more salt, but I'm going to wait until I add my cheeses. In particular, my grated Parmigiano Reggiano and extra sharp cheddar cheese. Add half of it to your mixture and save the rest of it for your topping. Incorporate the cheeses into your mixture, taste again for seasoning, and it's just perfect. Okay, I went ahead and prepared some spaghetti, and I cooked it 3 minutes shy of what it says on the box. Under cooking your pasta, you allow the pasta to absorb the extra sauce while baking in the oven. It's a wonderful cooking tip. Okay, turn off the heat and let's transfer our tetrazzini into a casserole dish. This is looking so good. And don't forget about the extra side of cheese. Top your tetrazzini with that sharp cheddar and parmesan, and bake the casserole in a 375-degree oven uncovered for 20 minutes. After 20 minutes, you can see the melted cheese and that crispy edges. Personally, I like the extra black pepper on top of my cheese, but I'll leave that up to you. Now, I have not forgot about my mom's tetrazzini, which literally reminds me of my childhood. Here's a side-by-side. I can't wait to try both options. Here comes the B-roll. Try not to drool. And just like that, we completed one of my most nostalgic dishes of my life. I'm so proud to replicate this casserole in such a beautiful way. When you try this dish, your heart will feel warm and fuzzy. Just make this dish, but make sure to hit that like button. It helps my channel to get noticed by the pesky algorithm. Subscribe to Cooking with Taste, and I'll see you next time. Ciao. So, it's creamy, that very familiar taste. Tastes like Campbell's. Tastes like, Velveeta, pasta, celery. Again, nostalgic. It kind of tastes like mac and cheese in a way. Like my version of mac and cheese if you saw the video. It is ultra creamy. I can actually taste the wine. It's faint, but it's there. At the end of the day, and I'm not really lying here, there isn't much of a winner here, or a loser, because they both, on their own, taste pretty good. Just make this. Either one. You'll be happy.